This year, the Caribbean Broadcasting Union is hosting its Regional Media Awards ceremony at the Government House in Antigua. Among the various award categories are several climate-related stories sponsored by the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, better known as 5Cs. Ahead of the awards ceremony, on Monday, reporters from across the region were engaged in various aspects of storytelling to include the vast areas in which climate change affects our daily lives.
So we do say that climate change impacts everything, but everything is not climate change. And one of what we try to do in this training is to open the eyes and ears of journalists so that when they see things happening, they can ask that question, how is climate change exacerbating this? What is the link to climate change? Because you're absolutely right. Whether you're talking about the inability of a farmer to grow their crops because they're not getting rain, whether you're talking about the increase in asthma that you're seeing and respiratory diseases, and the link with mental health, whether you're talking about the fact that the fishermen and women are having a difficult time catching fish because with the warmer ocean waters, fish are moving and they're migrating. And then obviously impacting things like the economy because of what the citrus industry, the banana industry, whether it's the floods or too much rain or too little rain, or the floods that you experience in our countries. The truth is our drains are not built to accommodate the type and the amount of water in the short amount of time that is falling. And so I'm glad, Dwayne, that you found this training to be useful because one of the messages we wanted people to live with is one, to know that climate change is impacting every facet of our life, and two, climate change is a risk multiplier. The idea is to increase the knowledge and awareness of the Caribbean public to the effects of climate change, and we recognize that the media is an indispensable part of fostering this awareness on the effects of climate change. And so we have brought journalists from all over the region to be here to participate in this training workshop. Those who work in print, those who work digital, in TV, in radio, newspaper, to share experiences and to provide them with insights of how they can use the climate change information to communicate stories effectively to the population.
During the session, the participating journalists revealed that all our countries are experiencing similar impacts of climate change: erosion, warmer temperatures, increasing health complications, and turning to political leaders and governments as well as international agencies for solutions. But how do we effectively tell these stories? That's what the session sought to establish.
Us as journalists working in the region, we need to be able to understand the issue first, so to be able to report on it accurately and in a creative way that informs people about the dangers of what is happening to us and what we can do to mitigate the challenges of climate change. And so workshops like these are important for that reason, for us who are disseminating the information in our various countries across the region, that we understand what we're saying properly and clearly is good, that we can communicate it to people in a very clear way. So from that perspective, it was a very useful workshop, as well as the creative ways in which we can tell stories. I think that was also a useful reminder as well in this workshop.
Caribbean Climate Tracker and Bahama Journal editor Deandra Williamson says that the Power Pack Empowering Workshop will help with pitching stories.
Like, it gave us topics as to what we can cover as climate journalists, going back into our newsrooms, what we should look out for in our reporting, how we could highlight the human story, the human side of our climate storytelling. And really, it was just really, it's like I said, a sensitization workshop whereby we were basically motivated to tell more climate stories so that the world can see what's going on in the Caribbean, and also to the stories we want to tell should be impactful stories to bring about change.
Executive Director of the 5Cs, Dr. Colin Young, says that the goal is to emphasize the concept of one climate, one Caribbean.
Most of us tell national stories, and we don't understand that those stories are also being experienced in other countries. So you would have heard me talk about the need to nationalize these stories, to regionalize them, and also to internationalize them. because while some of the impacts from climate change might be slightly different in some parts of the Caribbean, because it's a big place, as we are farthest west in Belize, and you have furthest south in Suriname, and the furthest east in Barbados, and up north in terms of Jamaica. So geographies are quite wide, but we experience the ravages of hurricanes and stronger hurricanes. We experience floods and droughts and increasing tropical storms and water shortages and all of the diseases that go along with the forest fires that we're experiencing. And so part of what we're trying to do is to have journalists understand that what is happening in their country is happening across the region, and we need to show the world and our own people in the region that we're all in this together. We're suffering in it together, but we also have ideas and solutions that we can share across the Caribbean.
As the sessions conclude, you can look forward to News 5's continued coverage of climate change-related stories in Belize. Reporting for News 5 from Royalton Resort in Antigua, I am Dwayne Moody.